Futile and Stupid Gesture is the new Netflix movie that's directed and co-written by David Wayne, and it stars Will Forte as Douglas Kenny. He was the head of the National Lampoon, founder of it, co-writer of great movies like Animal House and Caddyshack, and so
Classics.
This kind of is a little behind-the-scenes look at just how the magazine was made, how the company was made, and how these movies were made, and it's all told looking through the lens of this very complicated man, Douglas Kenny, played by Will Forte. So let's just go right there with Will Forte and his performance. What'd you think?
I mean, I love Will Forte. Really, in anything that he does, I really think he's a funny character. And I think this one, he actually got to, bring out the acting chops a little bit more. In
Yeah.
This is a very broken character. He was a very broken man in general, just because he never seemed to be satisfied with... He never even stopped to enjoy or smell the roses, because he was constantly wondering what's the next thing. And I felt that he did a great job with this character. What about you?
Yeah, I think Will Forte really spread his wings with this one and showed that he can do some dramatic acting. I thought he did a good job of balancing sympathy and kind of disgust with Doug Kenny's character. And you make a good point about how he can never be happy, even when he's in the height of his success. His mentality in this movie kind of reminded me of the Outkast lyric, "You're only as funky as your last cut." So, he had a project over and done with. He was just on to the next one. And as filmmakers, we can definitely, understand that feeling of just, that one's done. What are we going to do next? So, I think that he did a good job, not only just portraying this complicated artist, but just portraying an artist in general.
Exactly, and that's how I relate to this movie, because I think we all have suffered through that. Just what I'm doing is not enough. I could be doing more. I need to sacrifice friends, family, whatever free time I have, because this needs to succeed, and I need to work on it harder. And I really related to this movie a lot just through that in general. Also, another thing I really liked about this movie was the structure of it. It was kind of oddly structured.
Yes, very unique structure. An older version of Doug kind of narrates the movie, and it's also interactive with some of the background characters in the movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really unique way to just kind of facilitate all this information that's being thrown at you, and this is a lesser known story. I mean, a lot of people don't know who Douglas Kenny is.
I didn't.
So I thought it was very useful and very funny, and just it was just a unique, cool new thing to do.
It just seems like something he would have done.
Right.
I think that they utilized that for that, but I didn't know anything about this story, and I knew a little bit, but I think that people have zero idea, probably thinks that the older version actually is him until the end.
Right.
When they realize what actually happened to him.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, that's one thing that I think structurally, I thought it had pretty good pacing, it was really funny, but the ending did just sort of cut it right off. It just came to a halt for me. It didn't really end exactly the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, you didn't feel like it culminated to anything. It just sort of, the story stopped.
Yeah, exactly. But let's talk about some of the side characters, because I think that they did a really good job of casting characters to play actual actors without mimicking them, just doing their job perfectly. When it comes to, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Chevy Chase, I feel like these actors did a really good job. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. And for me, the standout is Joel McHale as Chevy Chase. I think he perfectly emulated him, and at no point did you feel like he was doing an impression.
No.
I mean, he and Chevy Chase worked together for years on the show Community, so there was definitely that familiarity with who this man really was, and especially back then, 70s Chevy Chase is not current day Chevy Chase.
No, not at all.
So
he's a bad influence back
then. Oh, yeah, but I just think that it works so well, and it just makes me smile just knowing that he's pulling off Chevy Chase so well, and once again, just a behind-the-scenes look at who these people really are.
Yeah, and I agree. I think Joel McHale playing Chevy Chase was pretty perfect because it was very subtle. I saw Chevy Chase a little bit in there somehow, even though I knew that was Joel McHale. I think one that was a little bit forced, but they didn't need to use him all that much, was the guy that played Rodney Dangerfield. But that's because it's impossible not to play Rodney Dangerfield as a caricature. Because that's just who he was.
Yeah, and
that
guy,
you have to impersonate him. He's not subtle.
Yeah, and the actor who played him nailed the voice.
He did.
Rodney Danger's voice. That's his trademark. That's his calling card.
Yeah. So, do you have any flaws really with the movie?
I feel like some of the dialogue is just a little on the nose at some parts. It's just they're kind of shoving the intent of the scene or the message of the movie just in your face a little bit.
Yeah.
But it didn't bother me too much. And I would say the laughs, probably 85% of them land. There's a few where it's just all right, that one didn't really get me, but the other laughs helped carry me through it.
Yeah, I feel like it was more chuckle laughs than anything, than big, huge, hearty laughs or anything like that. But I think they portrayed the story quite well, although at times I felt like they concentrated on things that wasn't as interesting as other things. I know they concentrated a lot on the magazine end of it, and I know that was a big part of it, but I would have liked to see more of the transition into the filmmaking part of it. A little bit more detail in there.
Buffs.
All right, Nate, so we talked about this movie, things we liked, things we didn't like, but why don't you go ahead and put a score on it?
Yeah, I did enjoy my time with this movie. It's not something I think I'll revisit. If anything, it made me want to revisit Caddyshack and Animal House more than anything. But it is good. I say check it out for sure. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think that it's one of David Wayne's best directed movies. I like the filmmaking choices that he made with this. I love the chemistry between Will Forte and Domhnall Gleeson, who plays his partner.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go a little bit higher than you. I'm going to give A Futile and Stupid Gesture 7.5 out of 10. If you are familiar with the National Lampoon franchise or these classic movies that they made, I highly recommend you watch this and just kind of like take a look behind the laughs.
Yeah.
Buffs.
All right, so that's our review of A Futile and Stupid Gesture. Have you seen the movie? What did you guys think of National Lampoons at all? Leave all your comments down below.
And be sure to join me next week. Nate's going to be living it up in the Sunshine State, but I'll be bringing you the review of Black Panther. Really excited for this one. It's the first time I've been excited for a new MCU movie in a while, so I'll bring you that review next week. But until then, don't forget,
There's no place like the theater.